Right now at 5, Sioux City is mourning the loss of one of its own after a humanitarian is found dead midway through RAGBRAI.
The unemployment rate is continuing to fall and is now at its lowest level since even before the recession.
Plus, we're heading down the road to Lamar's, Iowa, where our own Joe Bizaccia learns about the sweet life.
From the Siouxland News Studio, Larry Wentz and Jen Austin. Siouxland News at 5 on KMEG 14 starts now.
RAGBRAI suffers its second death of 2014, and this time the victim is a Sioux City man. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jen Austin.
And I'm Larry Wentz. That victim is 74-year-old George Frank Brinkerhoff. He was found dead at his tent outside of Mason City this morning. Brinkerhoff was the president of Siouxland Cyclists and donated refurbished bikes to children across Siouxland. He started biking when he was in his late 50s. Now, his cause of death is yet to be determined, but police say it appears to be of natural causes. RAGBRAI Director T.J. Jeskowitz issued a statement saying that he first got to know Brinkerhoff in 2010 when Sioux City hosted the RAGBRAI kickoff. He adds that Brinkerhoff had a great passion for cycling. He will be missed by the entire RAGBRAI nation.
Sioux City police are looking for a suspect in an early morning burglary. Shortly after 2:30 this morning, a man wearing a blue t-shirt, jeans, and a hat broke into the Select Mart convenience store on Gordon Drive, leaping over the counter and stealing several cartons of cigarettes. On his way out, surveillance video shows him falling on his face and spilling his loot before picking it back up and running off. If you have any information concerning this break-in, you are urged to call Sioux City Police at 712-279-6960.
Good news for Siouxlanders affected by June storms and flooding. Iowa Governor Terry Branstad says the federal government has issued a presidential disaster declaration for 26 northwest Iowa counties affected by storms and flooding between June the 14th and the 23rd. Buena Vista, Cherokee, Clay, Dickinson, Emmett, Ida, Lyon, Osceola, Palo Alto, Plymouth, Pocahontas, Sac, Sioux, and Woodbury counties are included in that declaration and will now be eligible for federal disaster aid.
The Plymouth County man being held for questioning in the death of his elderly parents last month will be back in court soon. A detention hearing has been set for Monday, August 4th for Jonathan Newsneighbor, who's been held on a material witness warrant since his arrest in Wisconsin the day after his parents' bodies were discovered in the rural Akron home on July 9th. An autopsy determined 80-year-old Esther Newsneighbor was killed by blunt force trauma. The cause of death for 83-year-old Donald Newsneighbor still has not been released. Investigators say Jonathan Newsneighbor is not a suspect in the crimes, but he will remain in custody until that August 4th hearing.
Promising news tonight on the economic front. Unemployment benefits are down once again. The U.S. Labor Department says applications for jobless claims fell by 19,000 last week to 284,000. That is the lowest number since February 2006, 2 years before the recession started.
Shopping online has become increasingly popular, but a new study by A.T. Kearney found that 90% of all U.S. retail sales happen within 4 walls of a physical store. The survey was based on 2,500 U.S. shoppers.
GM expects to pay at least $400 million in compensation to victims of a faulty ignition switch problem that has been linked to 13 deaths. That recall cost the world's largest automaker about $1.5 billion in the second quarter, but the company did post a net profit of $190 million. So far, GM has recalled nearly 30 million vehicles.
Dunkin' Donuts is upselling to get customers to spend more money in the afternoon. The company's CEO says he's encouraging cashiers to suggest customers buy a cookie or a donut with their afternoon cup of joe. It's part of an effort to increase sales after stores have emptied out from the morning rush.
A plane carrying 116 people has disappeared over the Sahara Desert in North Africa, apparently during a rainstorm. The Air Algeria plane was flying from Burkina Faso to Algeria's capital in North Africa when it disappeared from radar during heavy rain early this morning. Now, officials believe it crashed in the Sahara Desert in northern Mali. Now, French fighter planes are scouring the area searching for that wreckage. Contact was lost with the plane just 50 minutes after takeoff, around the time the plane sent a message asking to change its route because of bad weather.
There was discussion of poor weather in the area, but clearly lots of aircraft managed to fly successfully through poor weather.
116 people were on board that flight, including 50 French citizens. There has been unrest in parts of Mali in recent years, but a senior French official says It seems unlikely fighters there have weapons that can shoot down a plane.
1 week after Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 was shot down, the process of recovering and identifying the victims continues, and so does the process of determining who fired the missile that killed them. The Red Cross arrived at the site today. They plan a methodical search. Many observers say the pro-Russian rebels controlling the area did the initial collection of the bodies in a haphazard way. Australia, which lost 27 citizens in the crash, wants to send international police officers to help secure the site and ensure a full investigation.
The contamination of the evidence and the disrespect shown to the bodies was too much.
The Obama administration says all signs point to Russia for supplying the weapons to the rebels who took down the airliner. The rebels deny shooting the Malaysia Airlines flight, but they do take credit for shooting down a Ukrainian fighter jet yesterday.
Civilian casualties continue to increase in the latest conflict between Hamas and Israel. Palestinian officials say that Israeli tank shells hit a school in the Gaza Strip that was being used as a UN shelter. The attack left at least 15 people dead with dozens more wounded. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon says UN staff is among the casualties and demanded Israel and Hamas abide by international law and protect humanitarian workers. Israel's military says it is investigating the incident and that it could have been the Hamas rockets that hit the school. Hamas is still firing rockets towards Israel's main airport, but the FAA has lifted a ban on American flights to and from the area. Officials say Israel is taking adequate steps to protect travelers.
An Iowa State Fair tradition is taking shape. That's right, the butter cow is back. Along with everyone's favorite butter bovine is something new this year. A Field of Dreams theme will be the feature butter sculpture as Iowa celebrates the 25th anniversary of the Field of Dreams movie. The sculptures will be on display in the John Deere Agriculture Building during the Iowa State Fair from August 7th to the 17th.
I'll tell you what, that is something you need to go to as a new visitor to Iowa. I'll tell you, new resident. So it's a lot of fun to see that. Well, a lot of thunderstorms this morning and a few this afternoon, Chad.
That's right, Larry, and most of them for now are moving off to the east, and it looks like for the early evening things will stay fairly quiet. Take a look at our Skywatch camera from Cherokee. It's brought to you by Builders Sharpening and Service. You can see that cloud cover there from the departing thunderstorms. And again, it's partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies across the eastern portions of the area, while we're seeing a bit of sunshine from Sioux City back into the western portions of the area. You see the showers and storms sliding southeastward now, basically between Sioux Falls and Mason City, and then those will move quickly towards the southeast. 77 in Sioux City right now, 71 in Sioux Falls, down to the south. Lincoln's at 88, so very warm and humid, not too far away. Our evening planner says look for partly cloudy skies tonight, but not out of the question to see a few thunderstorms overnight. Then partly cloudy to kick off what should be a warm and humid Friday. We'll tell you just how warm it can be for the last day of the work week coming up in just a few minutes.
Fairway presents Down the Road.
Tonight, we continue our trip down the road to Le Mars, Iowa. The city is known as the ice cream capital of the world because of the famous Wells Blue Bunny ice cream that is produced there. Now, we all have our own favorite flavors, but how do they come up with those great tastes? The company is about 500 people from around the community who are taste testers. And Siouxland News reporter Joe Bazascia is the latest to put his skills to the test.
Welcome to another installment of our summer series, Down the Road. I'm here in Le Mars at the Wells corporate headquarters to try some of the world-famous Blue Bunny ice cream. Let's go check it out. As soon as I entered the facility, I could almost taste the first bite of my beloved bunny tracks. I couldn't help but wonder, why offer free money and ice cream to people? Surely this was too good to be true.
Everything we do is to get the voice of our consumer to help us develop our product to make the best tasting ice cream that we can. And to do that, the best way, of course, is to have people taste it.
Wow, I must be dreaming. What kind of ice cream will I taste? I sure do hope it's bunny tracks.
We have some classics for you to taste today. We have our Blue Bunny Bunny Tracks ice cream, which is one of our flagship flavors, and a super chunky cookie dough, and then just some good old chocolate ice cream to taste.
Now it's just about time for the best part, the taste test. After being given some simple directions, the ice cream was scooped, and it was almost time for me to dig in for that epic first bite.
Brain freeze.
Okay, so that was a pretty serious brain freeze. Thankfully, it subsided quickly enough for me to eat some more and complete the computer survey involved in the taste test.
I'm so excited for cookie dough right now.
Anyone interested in taste testing for Wells Blue Bunny can go to wellsenterprisesinc.com. Testers are generally compensated between $20 and $30.
And no, Joe did not get paid except in ice cream. Now, our trip to Lamar's isn't finished yet.
When we come back, we'll give you a tour of the town. We'll look at all the places and things you can do when the workday ends. That's just ahead.
Siouxland News at 5 on KMEG 14 with Larry Wentz, Jen Austin, Siouxland's Chief Meteorologist Chad Sandwell, and Sports Director Jordan Furby. Siouxland News at 5 on KMEG 14.
Blue Bunny ice cream has put Lamar's on the map, and the city is fed off that success with a slogan that says, "Life is sweet in Lamar's." And the community has done a lot of things to enhance the quality of life for its residents and to attract newcomers. Lamar's is the only city under 10,000 in Iowa that has a 27-hole golf course. There's another kind of course that gets a lot of use, an 18-hole disc golf course that was expanded a couple of years ago. And one of the buildings at the former Westmar College is now a busy YMCA, one of the few in a community the size of Lamar's.
From ladies and older gentlemen using our indoor pool, particularly in the wintertime, and to young kids playing basketball, and it's a place for people to really work out and get health.
Next door to the Y, a former Westmar cafeteria has been renovated into a convention center that can serve up to roughly 1,000 people at the same time.
We have weddings there pretty much every weekend. It's a dual level, so usually in the summer you'll find there'll be 2 of them going on at the same time.
Brown Miller, who heads the Convention and Visitors Bureau, works out of this new visitor center on Central Avenue, the city's main street. It's easier for visitors to find, to get information and maps, and even snap a photo or two.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
And one of the most heavily used and popular features of Lamar's is nearly 10 miles of bike and walking path that encircle the city. Now, speaking of bikes, tomorrow we'll show you how bicycling becoming a growing pastime and sport in Lamar's. There are even contests that bring people to town from other states and a BMX track for those who want an off-road challenge. Now, the Plymouth County Fair continues through Sunday, as we've mentioned earlier. Tonight, the group called Vocal Trash, kind of best described as Glee Meets Stomp, performs at 5. That performance going on now, 7 and 9 at Pioneer Village. At 6:30 is the Farm Olympics at the Covered Show Arena, and also at 6:30 is the Tough Truck Contest at the Grandstand. Now, tomorrow at the fair, the Antique Tractor Parade is at the Grandstand at 5. At 6:30, the Tractor and Mini Rod Pull also takes place. And at 7 p.m., the folks from Impact Pro Wrestling will be jumping into the ring at the Covered Show Arena. Now, also tomorrow night at 7 p.m. is the always popular cooking show. It's a long-time tradition at the fair that is done in partnership with the local Fairway store in Lamar's. It's basically a class in how to cook various products conducted by a local expert. At the end of the class, participants have an opportunity to win a very special prize.
Every year we get together these bags of groceries, and at the end of the night, the cooking school, people have a chance to win these bags of groceries.
The cooking school offers folks a chance to try some foods that are a little more wholesome perhaps than traditional fair food, and it's located conveniently near the other activities at the fair.
The cooking school is actually going to be at the Plymouth County Fairgrounds at Century Hall Friday night at 7 o'clock. You must be present to win one of the prizes, so you need to go and stay and enjoy and learn a few things while you're there.
Melvin estimates each prize bag is worth about $30 to $40 in Fairway groceries.
New numbers from the CDC show not enough kids are getting vaccinated against a cancer-causing virus. David Begno has the details of a new report.
16-year-old honors student Darren Horn is at his doctor's office for an HPV shot.
It doesn't hurt that much, a little tingling in the arm.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention wants more kids to get vaccinated against HPV or human papillomavirus. A new government report finds only 57% of girls ages 13 to 17 are getting the shots. The number is even lower for boys, only 35%.
If we could raise HPV vaccine coverage to the same level as the pertussis vaccinations or the meningitis vaccinations, we could prevent thousands of HPV-associated cancers every year.
HPV is a common sexually transmitted infection that can cause cervical cancer in women and throat and mouth cancer in men. It is best to get vaccinated before becoming sexually active.
According to the CDC, one main reason parents say they did not have their child vaccinated is because their doctor never recommended it.
Pediatrician Jessica Sessions says she always recommends the vaccinations to patients, but some parents aren't ready to listen.
HPV is related to genital warts, which can sometimes be a tricky thing to talk to a parent about.
Darren's mom didn't hesitate.
It's absolutely a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want to just go ahead and protect their family against something that's so easily preventable?
David Begnaud for CBS News, New York.
The HPV vaccine requires 3 doses. Some parents say they have safety concerns, but the CDC says no serious health risks have been linked to the vaccine.
Well, one more game tonight out at Lewis and Clark Park between Gary South Shore and the X's. First pitch set for 7:05. And as we take a look at our forecast for this evening, I think we'll see partly cloudy skies here in Sioux City. Temperatures hovering around that 80-degree mark, but it will be a bit on the breezy side. We'll talk about our chances of rain overnight and a warm and humid Friday coming up after the break.
Siouxland weather with Chief Meteorologist Chad Sandwell.
Well, Chad, we got a little bit of that rain you told us may be coming.
Yeah, and it was certainly much needed, even though June was a record-setting month rain-wise. We're starting to get a little dry out there, and so the rain definitely welcome, and it's kind of keeping things a little on the humid side this evening. Take a look at how our Skywatch camera builds up. There's our forecast for the end of the evening, temperatures in the 70s, and then as we take a look at our Skywatch camera, there's the cloud cover over Ponca State Park, and those clouds do look maybe a little on the ominous side, but for the most part, things are pretty quiet. A beautiful day down in Norfolk. We take a look at our Skywatch camera there, brought to you by Norfolk Ear, Nose, and Throat, and then, of course, as we head out towards Lake Okoboji, and you can see there the view brought to you by Liberty National Bank. Some clouds, a little bit of sunshine trying to peek through what has been a rainy afternoon. We make a final stop here in Dakota Dunes, and our camera brought to you by Liberty National Bank, where we do have a varying degree of cloud cover. It's been a very mild and muggy afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow are going to be on the warm side, 92 the afternoon high, and then of course we're expecting things to cool off a little bit as we head towards the end of the weekend. Upper 70s and plenty of sunshine for Monday. But right now we're looking at the chance of rain. Mainly the rain this evening is going to be off in the northeast from Sibley over to Spencer, possibly down towards Storm Lake and Sac City. These showers have been moving towards the southeast and will continue to do so. So places like Sioux City, I think for the early part of the evening, going to remain fairly quiet. That is certainly some good news. There's a look at the satellite imagery. Here's how it's all developed over the last 6 hours. And that wave moving towards the southeast. We did see a couple of storms early, and then watching this last little gasp of rain push towards the southeast. So softball this evening in Fort Dodge might have a little bit of a rain delay there. We'll certainly keep our eyes on that. As we head throughout the next, say 36 hours or so, a warm front's going to be pushing into the area overnight. That will set the stage for what could be a few showers and storms, definitely by around 1 a.m. through the Sioux City area, so we'll certainly watch for that. They push off to the east pretty quickly on Friday morning, and as that warm front moves through, we're going to be looking at a very warm day. Again, temperatures expected to get into the lower 90s. By Friday evening, that cold front sits just on to the north of town, and as we work our way from Friday night to Saturday, you can see that boundary doesn't move a whole lot, so temperatures, again, probably going to be a little on the warm side, and we can't rule out maybe a couple of isolated showers. But in the meantime, rain chances tonight through early tomorrow morning. Looks like maybe about a quarter to a half inch here in Sioux City. Some areas like Wayne and over towards Storm Lake could see up closer to an inch of rain, but certainly some rain. It does appear to be headed our way overnight. Right now in Sioux City, 77 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Our winds are out of the south-southeast, currently at about 15 miles an hour. That goes ahead and takes us to our forecast tonight, where we are looking for a few thunderstorms to develop. 68 the overnight low, with the south wind at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. But for tomorrow, we'll call for partly cloudy skies. Going to be rather warm and humid. 92 the afternoon high. Would not be surprised to see a few of the heat indices reaching up close to 100 degrees tomorrow afternoon. There's a look at your extended forecast over the next 7 days. Again, as we head towards the end of the weekend, things look absolutely fantastic with plenty of sunshine.
You know, and eventually summer's going to end, so we should enjoy those weekends while we can. You know, earlier it was too wet, then it was too hot.
Right. This one should be just right.
All right. Thanks, Chad. Back right after this.
Siouxland Sports with Jordan Furby.
And welcome back to the Rogers Sports Complex for semifinal action at the state softball tournament. Well, folks, it's been 10 years since Woodbury Central last played in the Final Four at state. Akron Westfield, meanwhile, is playing in its 10th semifinal in 11 seasons. Now, a win for both, And Siouxland will have 2 teams playing for all the marbles on Friday. We start in 2A as number 3 Woodbury Central takes on number 2 Earlham. The Cardinals entered undefeated against teams in 2A, but the Cats came ready to play. Hallie still getting the start in the circle, and she starts out great with back-to-back strikeouts. More defense from WC in the second. Taylor Williamson going to pop up to shallow right. Allie Self makes the catch. They try to double up the runner, but the umps say the runner left early from first, so Ellen Gallagher steps on first for the easy double play. But ahead to the third, Earlham strikes. Taylor Hipsley rips a shot into left, and it just clears the fence for a solo homer to make it 1-0. Bottom 5 now 2-0 Earlham, but the Cats making the nice strikeout, and then they double up the play at second. Great throw and great catch. We move ahead now to the top of the 7th. 2 outs with a runner on second for Woodbury Central. Paige Roenfeld's liner looks like the game-ending catch, but it's dropped. Brooke Bowers scores, and the Cats are now within 1. Next batter, runner now on third. A passed ball brings in Kaylin Betchen, and we're tied up at 2. But in the bottom frame, Williamson up to bat again, and she's going to end it with a walk-off homer to straightaway center. Woodbury Central loses an absolute heartbreaker, 3-2 the final. So down to 1A, number 1 Akron Westfield taking on number 6 Martinsdale St. Mary's. The Westerners beat the Blue Devils in the 2010 semis en route to a state title. Top of the third, all tied up at 1. Westerners with runners at the corners, and Courtney Headland grounds into the fielder's choice. Danica Tyndall scores to put A-Dub in front 2-1. Top 5 now, Westerners looking for some more. Kayla Tyndall nearly sends this one out as it hits the fence, but she's going to stretch this one out for a lead-off double. 2 batters later, it's Headland again. The grounder takes a wicked hop, and that's going to score Courtney Waterbury to make it 3-1 Westerners. Later on, A-Dub now with bases juiced, but Tyndall strikes out, stranding them all, and that would be big because in the bottom of the 7th, it's now 3-2. Devils have runners on first and second with 2 outs, but Tyndall gets them swinging on the drop, strike 3, and for the 2nd year in a row and 7th time in school history, Akron Westfield will play for a state title. They grab the 3-2 win. So that's going to wrap things up from here for now, but we'll have post-game reaction from both Woodbury Central and Akron Westfield coming up for you tonight at 10. From Fort Dodge, I'm Jordan Furby, Siouxland Sports.
It was really nice to see that rain today, but not looking good tomorrow for RAGBRAI.
Yeah, day 6 of RAGBRAI does look to be a little on the wet side. It'll also be warm and humid, so probably not the best of days. Waverly to Independence is our route tomorrow. We'll be looking at temperatures around 90 degrees, and riders probably going to have to dodge a few thunderstorms, so the ride could take a little longer than the last few.
All right, that is it for us at 5 o'clock. Hope you have a good night and come back and join us again tonight at 10.